The next point is about other safety measures. I'm going to take these in reverse order. The first one is if anyone's got any points they want to raise about road safety, which is clearly quite a crucial issue for Westminster, both for residents but also particularly for visitors and people coming into the city. Does anyone have any comments they want to make about measures to reduce road safety or any particular issues they have around road safety?
Yeah, sorry, David Pullen again, Crime Prevention. Just as a citizen and perhaps a police officer, one of the main problems over the years I've experienced is bus lanes and tourists being knocked over by a bus, and I myself have had to deal with injured tourists, and it's not a pretty sight. I just wondered if something could be done regarding the speed of buses going down bus lanes in the opposite direction of the traffic flow, and maybe even some sort of early warning noise or something at the junction that could warn tourists not to cross the road when they're looking in one direction and the bus is coming in the other. It's just a simple thing that's sort of puzzled me over the years. It's just a small point that I thought worth raising.
Is it a particular issue with contraflow bus lanes, or is it because they're looking in the wrong direction to cross the road?
It's certainly contraflow, but I would say a little bit of both. Perhaps, obviously the tourists need to be educated, but they step out on the road and it's goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Okay, thank you.
Just Simon Burkett, Knightsbridge Association. Just encourage Westminster to introduce a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in residential areas away from the arterial roads.
Thank you.
On the subject of on the subject of contraflow bus lanes, about which we are about to become neurotic in Victoria. Yes? Because there's a plan to put a large contraflow bus lane along Victoria Street, and we as residents are convinced that's going to kill people, particularly children, because we have a very high number of school children using that area. I find your comments useful, and they will be used, sir. Secondly, my only point about road safety generally for pedestrians, and it's not a lot Westminster can do about it, is crossing times at traffic lights. They are too short. It's not rocket science. They are just too short. The walk time is too short. The start-up time of different kinds of pedestrians is different. And there is no doubt that the TfL recommended walk times are too short for people over the age of 50, for example, me, and children, and people with any kind of disability whatsoever. And until people get to grips with that, I think Westminster's got a real problem.
Thank you.
My name's Teresa Carney from the Portman Estate, and I support both of the previous speakers. Just one road in particular that causes me great concern is Portman Street as it comes off Oxford Street, where you've got traffic coming or buses coming from both directions. And I'm aware of a number of accidents I've witnessed personally and aware of some fatalities there. I don't know what the answer is, but with the volume of mostly tourists that are crossing over there, it is definitely a dangerous area.
Okay, thank you.
Simon Burkett, Knightsbridge Association. We have seen a particular problem in Brompton Road. I appreciate that's a boundary road for you with KNC, but the bulbs blow because the traffic light bulbs, the ones that you press as a pedestrian, blow quite frequently because of the large number of people crossing those roads. You quite often get all the wait signs, to show that you've actually registered or the button has registered your request, to trigger the signal. And therefore what happens is a lot of people, maybe particularly tourists, but a lot of people don't know whether their request has been registered. They then go across the road when it's not safe to do so, and that area is known for having a particularly high accident rate. So replacing those bulbs frequently or putting in LED type bulbs or something like that, I'm sure would help.
Okay, thank you.
Noel Nagel, Knightsbridge Association, but I'm also chairman of a neighbourhood watch round the Albert Hall. We have a narrow and winding street just by the Albert Hall, which has on it a kindergarten. We applied to the council for some traffic calming measures or reduction in the speed limit. They came and looked, and I'm concerned about the criteria upon which they will act, to limit speed, because we were told that if they wouldn't do anything, but they said, if any of these children are killed or injured, we will consider it.
Right, thank you.
That was a bit of a shock.
No, that is the response.
Yeah.
We have the same problem.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just want to throw my usual thing about cycling into the pot. I've mentioned it at other meetings, but I just think that I've just put it forward that it must be, safe cycling must be a central consideration. My tendency at the moment is to advocate separated lanes wherever you can do it, knowing very well that you can't do it everywhere. But I'm not wedded to a solution. I just think a solution needs to be found in any given situation so that pottering cyclists, as it were, can cycle knowing that they'll be safe.
Thank you. Yes.
And just leading on from the cycling bit, that and the pottering cyclists, that if they're not pottering, they're on the pavement, and that is really quite dangerous. And I live in Ashley Gardens, and Victoria Street can be appalling on the pavement, and it's the old ladies and the young kids that are the ones that suffer. And there's no interest generally from the police, I see, and no interest from the other chaps at PCC. What are they called? In stopping them. And I've actually said to police on times, there's a cyclist on the pavement, and nothing happens. I don't know that it happens everywhere.
Okay. Okay, and the second point on that question was to do with river safety. There's a current policy in the Unitary Development Plan. Was there anything anyone wanted to say about river safety? Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Do you consider that for reasons of health and well-being, the council should restrict amusement arcades and betting shops? Just looking at this under the use classes order, amusement arcades are far easier to restrict. They come under sui generis use, which means that they're of no particular use and you can't automatically change between uses. Betting shops would be far more difficult. They fall under an A2 use class, and that just means they're the same as, say, financial institutions and banks and things like that are typically allowed in our high street. So does anyone have any comment on a policy approach to those or any other uses you want to raise?
Are you skipping question 3?
I have, sorry. I'll come straight back to it. We'll just do this one. Has anyone got any comments on this one? Right. No, I've skipped one, sorry. I'll come back to it. If no one's got any comments about amusement arcades and betting shops, we'll go back to...
And very rigorous, absolutely. It's betting, it's gambling. They are attractive to very young people, or can be. I know you're limited in what you can do, but one thing you can do is not allow quite glamorous frontages on betting shops. You know, sort of brightly lit, quite hip, this is a good place to be type sign. They should be, with respect, seedy dives, so that nobody is attracted to going there, and certainly not young people, and never allow them to have a coffee bar inside. So it sounds facetious, but if we've got to have these things, keep them seedy and keep them in minority use.
Okay. I guess that one point I would raise is whether you've got any comment about the relationship between making them look seedy and making sure our high streets are attractive and vibrant. And
well, it's a good reason for not allowing it in the high street, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
You've got to be seedy. We can't have them here.
Okay.